Well, hello, everybody. I am back with a successfully recorded video. It's been a while, and I'm so glad that you're here. I always have great intentions to come back and do monthly videos, and it's been a very, very long time, like 6 or 7 months. Honestly, I did try. Then we finished wrapping up building our house, moved in, lots of things happening at work, lots of excuses. But I'm here. I'm actually sitting at my brand new dining room table in my brand new dining room. And I am here to talk to you about smart design on a budget for your kitchen and bathrooms. I actually did this workshop a few years ago. So I've recycled some of the information and some of the slides, but then I've updated many of them. So we're just going to go through really quick some of my really great ideas of how you can update your kitchen and bathroom on a budget. And I'm going to show you some actually photos of projects that I've worked on, talk to you and show you the befores and afters, but also show you what I would have done if this client had come to me and had a budget. So I'm going to share my screen with you. Also, please know that I am at home, like I mentioned, and I have 3 dogs who like to bark. So, and if one starts, they all start. So, if it happens, I apologize in advance. Let me see really quick if I can move myself down here and let's go. Let's hit play. There we go. All right. So these are just some tips about saving money on your kitchen and bath renovation. Let's move through the slides. So if you have not been here before, let me introduce myself. I am Jennifer Taylor, and I am an interior designer for almost 30 years. I work in Tallahassee, Florida, and I specialize in kitchen and bathroom design. I am married to Brian. There we are, right before our house, or right after our house started construction. We have 3 adult children, and we recently built our dream home in Monticello, which is a small town about 30 minutes outside of Tallahassee. And I am slowly, slowly, slowly adjusting to country life. I love living out here. It's great. I love this house. I drive up to it every day, and I'm so thankful that I was able to do this. And in my series, I promise to be sharing more about the house itself. But today I was like, I need to get some information out there to you guys. And I thought this was a great topic. Lots of people are staying put in their homes and they're not buying or building, and they're kind of deciding with interest rates and all the things they want to kind of stay put, but you need to do some updating. And so here are some things that you can do to update your home, but these are really budget friendly ideas. So let's start with the number one: paint. Paint your cabinets, paint your walls. Paint is an amazing way to update a room on a budget. These are some of my favorite paint colors. These would consider more neutral, all neutral paint colors. So if you're looking to paint something, a white or a neutral shade, or you just want something kind of that appeals to the masses because you may be selling your home soon, these are my go-to paint colors. Snowbound and Alabaster are very good kind of soft whites, as well as White Dove by Benjamin Moore. Gossamer Veil is a really pretty soft kind of gray beige color that's really nice. And Revere Pewter, if you are on Pinterest, you know Revere Pewter is a very popular color, and that's a really great neutral color. And let me give you a quick tip though about painting your cabinets. If you decide to paint your cabinets white and you have white trim in your home, then match to the white that you already have, because you don't want to pick just a white and then I guess my internet, sorry, that was just like a little blurb there. You don't want to have like a bright, bright white on your trim, and then you pick a soft white for your cabinets, and they're right up next to each other, and your cabinets look dingy. So if you have white trim, which most people do, then match the white trim that you have in your room. That's just a little tip about that. All right, so let's move on to the next slide. The next thing you can do is replacing your cabinet hardware. Even if you can't paint, you can replace your cabinet hardware. There are lots of options out there. Lowe's and Home Depot are going to be your most budget-friendly options, especially if you go into the store and buy what they already have there in stock. But a brand that I really like to use for my clients that are working on a budget is Amrock, Amerock. They have a great website. You can, and when you go on their website, you can search by finish, you can search by size, you can search whether you do pulls or knobs, and that's a really good budget-friendly option. One step up from that as far as the manufacturer is top knobs. I use top knobs in my own personal house and I did it in my kitchen. I want to say that this picture right here is probably top knobs. If I was to guess, that is a beautiful sit down vanity that I did for a client about, oh gosh, it's probably been about 4 or 5 years ago now, so I can't remember the manufacturer. But Top Knobs is great. Top Knobs offers a lot more finish options and a lot more styles than Amrock does. But those are some really good places that you can go to find out new cabinet hardware. If you have knobs on your cabinet doors with just one hole, you might consider changing those, especially on doors, especially on like upper doors. If you've got a kitchen cabinet and you've got one little small knob, consider taking that knob off, buying a pull instead, and adding a new hole right above the old hole and using a pull or a handle in that space. That's a great way to update without having to replace your doors, but you're just adding a second hole. If you already have a handle or a pull in place with two screw holes in your drawer or your door, be sure to measure from the center to the center of those holes, and that's the size of the pull that you need. Number 3 is lighting. I love lighting. Right behind me is some sconces that I had it here in my dining room. Lighting is an amazing way to change an entire look of your room. It's a way to bring in some personality into your room, and it's a really easy thing to change later on. Um, I always suggest going to your local lighting store first. You can usually see things in person. I prefer my local store versus a big box store, but it all depends on where you live and what is accessible to you. If you're in Tallahassee, Tallahassee Lighting is great. I use them a lot for my clients. Their showroom is amazing, and the people who work there are so, so helpful. But if you're just wanting some online resources, Shades of Light is a great online retailer. They have lots of price points, lots of different looks, lots of different kind of lighting. And I really enjoy using those if I can't quite find what I'm needing at the local lighting store. And last is another online retailer, Visual Comfort. It's a little higher price, and they of course have lots of price points within their brand. These sconces here behind me are from Visual Comfort. I use Visual Comfort for maybe 2 or 3 spaces in my own home. I also am going to throw out there that Ballard Designs, even though it's not here on the slide, they're mainly known for like furniture, but they have some really pretty lighting. And I actually use Ballard for 2 light fixtures in my own home here as well. So I'll add that to the list. Okay, so let's talk some real life examples. This is a photograph of a project that I worked on a few years ago, and I'm just going to talk you through the ways that I would improve this kitchen. I bet you a lot of you have the same kind of kitchen where you've got wood floors or dark floors, you've got dark stained cabinets, you have dark countertops, you have tumbled travertine marble on the backsplash of your kitchen. This is a 90s dream kitchen, but now for 2025, it's not so dreamy. So here is what I would do if this was a client who came to me and said, I'm on a budget. What do you suggest? The number one thing I would say is paint the cabinets. Just paint the cabinets. Paint them white. You've got white trim in there already. Just paint them white. The second thing I would do is replace the cabinet hardware, because black hardware on white cabinets really creates a statement and a high contrast. So I would suggest that maybe doing like a polished nickel or stainless steel hardware would be better because it kind of works with your appliances that you already have. The third thing I would suggest is take down that huge chandelier that's hanging over your island and replace that with 2 pendant lights. You're going to need to have an electrician come out, but they can take the wire that's going to that chandelier and create you 2 new junction boxes, and you can do 2 pendant lights. 2 rather large pendant lights look way better than 1 huge chandelier. The next thing I would do if your budget allows is to replace your countertops. Can do amazing things for your kitchen. If you're tight on money, then just replace the island countertop. That would make a huge difference. And then later, replace the perimeter countertops and the backsplash tile. That gives you a whole new look. And then last but not least, I would replace the vent hood. To me, that vent hood looks a little too modern for this kitchen. It's also mounted up too high. That was one of the complaints my clients had when we were talking about designing their new kitchen. They were like, it just has never really worked. And I'm like, because it's someone mounted it too high. It's probably about 8 to 9 inches too high, in my opinion. Maybe the person who is specking it is tall, but my clients aren't tall. They built this home, and that was not a very good choice for them. So let me show you the after of the same kitchen. Now, obviously, this kitchen wasn't done on a budget. We did some budget friendly things though. We kept all the cabinets on the perimeter of the kitchen exactly the same, as far as we didn't demo those out. We just took the door fronts and drawer fronts off, replaced those with new, and painted them. The appliances all stayed. We just did replace the vent hood. That was the only appliance that they replaced. We did replace the actual island itself because the existing island was just too big for the space. It's hard to really tell, but you can kind of see how it was really close to the range, and it just felt too tight when someone was standing at the kitchen sink there on the other end. So we made it a little bit smaller, but we still were able to get 4 counter stools around that and create a nice big space for entertaining, eating, and food prepping. And you also can see where we changed out that one big chandelier into 2 larger pendants, because over the breakfast room table right there was another chandelier. And so it felt weird having 2 chandeliers. And if you can kind of peek into the family room that's connected, there's also a chandelier hanging there. So doing the 2 pendant lights really helped break up the scale of all those light fixtures hanging there. I also really we added the tongue and groove painted ceiling into the kitchen. And of course, countertops and backsplash, and we restained the floors. We did a lot of stuff, but they weren't on a budget. I mean, they were, but not a tight budget. So let's look at this photograph. I'm sure a lot of you might have a bathroom that's similar to this. This is a client that we did a design only for, which meant we created a design. We did a number of bathrooms for this client in the kitchen. We put it all together in a notebook and we handed it over to the client. They have since had these improvements done, but I haven't seen them. I need to ask her to send me a photo because I would love to see how it turned out. But this was an upstairs bathroom that their daughter used. And if they were coming to me and saying, I want to improve this bathroom on a budget, what would you suggest? The first thing I would say is take out that cabinet and replace it with a ready-made vanity. You can find small vanities, again, at big box stores, Lowe's, Home Depot, Pottery Barn. Build.com is another website that sells a lot of home improvement stuff. But you can do a ready-made vanity that comes with a countertop and it usually comes with a sink. So you're getting all in one, it's easy, and it's cost effective. The other thing I would suggest is that we do a much taller and wider mirror. That mirror is very small and it doesn't provide a lot of looking at yourself space, and it feels really tiny on that wall. So I would go wider, I would go taller, and I also would consider a mirror that has a very narrow frame so you get as much glass as possible. The third thing I would do is add a vanity light. Right now, they only had a light up in the ceiling. So I would add a vanity light, and that will fill in that empty space there between the window and the mirror. And then the last thing I would do would be paint the walls. I think those 4 things would make a huge improvement to this small bathroom. Now let's take a look at a larger bathroom. Again, this is a real life bathroom that I did a renovation on. We did a full renovation, which I'm going to show you in a minute. But this is another example of a very kind of 90s bathroom, dark on dark on dark, brown on brown on brown. And there's so many things wrong with this bathroom. I honestly, this is my top 5 worst bathrooms I've probably ever seen. And I'm going to tell you a funny story about this bathroom. The clients who hired me to do this bathroom was a young couple. They had recently gotten married, bought this home. We did the renovation, I would say maybe 6 years ago. And about 3 or 4 months ago, I had a lady reach out to me to help her on a home that she was wanting to do some updates on. And she told me that she was the original She owned this house before my clients did. And she loved seeing all the improvements that we made because there were things that she wanted to do to the house that she didn't do to the house. And I kind of felt bad because I had used this bathroom as such a horrible example of what not to do, but she agreed. So it was kind of funny. I had the same house. I worked with both of the homeowners of the same house. Anyway, all right, so here's ways to improve this larger bathroom. First and foremost, I would say remove that center tower. I love using center towers in bathrooms, but this one is way too small for the size of this vanity. It is a much longer vanity. There's a whole nother sink on this other end, and it's so tiny, and it has this weird open space that I don't understand why. It should have been much wider. It should have been deeper. It should have gone all the way to the ceiling. So I would take that off. And unfortunately, they ran the backsplash to the sides of that. So that means when the center tower comes off, there's a space where your backsplash doesn't go through. So that means the second thing I would suggest would be replacing the countertop. Then we move on to those teeny tiny mirrors. I would replace those with, of course, much larger mirrors. And I would also move those lights up and replace them with something way better, way, way better. It's just so tiny. The scale is just so off in this bathroom. I keep repeating myself. Then the next thing I would suggest that we do is paint the cabinets. That's another, again, budget-friendly thing. Paint cabinets, replace the hardware, just like what I've talked about in the previous slides. Painting the walls. That yellow color is not doing that tile any favors. And I realize that demoing out the tile in the tub is probably not in the cards for someone who is on a budget. So get a big rug and cover up as much of that tile as you possibly can. I bet like a 4x6 or a 5x8 rug would fit in that bathroom. There is a company called Ruggable, Ruggable, that sells rugs that you can wash. I prefer larger rugs in a bathroom or even a kitchen than a lot of little tiny rugs. We currently have 3 little scatter rugs in my bathroom, and I do not enjoy it. I don't like seeing all these like little postage stamps, and I'm looking for a bigger rug. I just haven't found it yet. But go with a large rug to cover up that ugly tile. And then here's the after. So again, obviously we did a big gut renovation, we replaced everything, but you can see just by the colors and changing out the layout of that vanity, it made all the difference in the world. So the vanity itself stayed exactly the same length. We did add a linen cabinet on the end that kind of filled in some of that space that the corner tub was taking and kept the plumbing there and did a freestanding tub. But I mean, it speaks for itself. It really, really does. And then last, before and after, I'm going to share with you is my personal home that I lived in before I moved out to Monticello. This was the very first project I did when I bought this house. I had been a renter of this home for about 8 years, and then I bought it and could not wait to start changing. And the best thing and the cheapest thing I could do was my hall bathroom, which my son also used. And I was able to totally update this bathroom for $5,000. Now that was probably 8 years ago. But we ripped out the cabinet, replaced it with a ready-made vanity that came with a marble countertop and a sink. We changed out the floor tile. I added wallpaper. You can see a different light fixture, mirror. Everything stayed. All the plumbing stayed in the same place. I kept the tub tile. I just changed out the shower fixtures and did a shower curtain. So everything was changed out. It was a cosmetic renovation, except the tub and the tub tile stayed. Everything else got replaced. So it can be done. It just requires a little bit of thought and planning. So now I'm going to talk to you about a couple of things, some business that I want to share with you guys. So I offer a virtual consultation that is just an online strategy session. It's 90 minutes. We do it on Zoom. I record the Zoom call. I share it with you at the end so you don't have to try to write everything down and remember things. It's $425. We can do it from anywhere in the whole world as long as you can get internet. And I can help you with your own personal budget-friendly ideas for your kitchen or bathroom or really any room of your house. So it's a great service if you're looking to just kind of pick my brain for an hour and a half, and I can do a lot in an hour and a half. The other thing I wanted to mention is I have a bathroom renovation course that I put together. When I renovated my second bathroom in my home, I kept impeccable records and photographs and all the things, and I put together a course. That's an online course. It's 5 on-demand videos. You get a workbook. It's $59 is all it costs. And you get all of that. And I walk you through every step of how you can renovate your bathroom all by yourself, from, interviewing contractors and trades and scheduling and budget and selections and standing up for yourself and all the good advice that I could share. It's great. The link to the course will be in the comments under this video. I would love for you to take a look at that. And last but not least, I have what's called a design circle, which you can see, my logo is is a little circle. And I will we have a page on our website that is private, and it's only available to people who join my design circle, which is really just like my email list. But the page houses lots of videos like this that I've done that were paid videos, or people had to do it. They're not on my YouTube channel, I don't think. But there's also downloads, there's free design guides, there's lots of good information. I will usually update it every few months. I send out emails just like twice a month, so you don't get very many emails from me. But the emails that I do send are definitely worth opening. I'll share blog posts or project updates or all the things. So in the comments in my on this video at the bottom will be a link to join my design circle. So I would love for you to be a part of that. And other than that, if you have questions about this video or anything, leave me a comment. I will be happy to answer those as best as I can. Follow me on Instagram, follow me on Facebook. I'm everywhere. I just started a TikTok channel. It's okay. I recorded a video of my hydrangea and it got more views than anything else I've done, it's just crazy to me. So anyway, glad you were here. Thanks for sticking with me through the whole video. Can't wait to come back and share some more information. I look forward to seeing you very, very, very soon. Thanks. Have a great rest of your day.